Okay, usually the little web camera pops up, but I don't see it here. Well, if you don't end up getting my mug on this video, then we're probably better off anyway. So what I'd like to do is spend the next 20 minutes walking you all through the resources that we have available through the Block School, through the libraries, and record this video for reference purpose in 2 or 3 or 16 weeks or whenever you come back to this, and just want to make those resource gathering efforts a little bit more robust. So I'm going to first direct your attention to the Blackboard. If you go to Course Content and then scroll down to Research Project, I've tried to archive everything that you'll need for the research project in this folder, and you can see a description of the project, the company selection forum, and then templates. Inside of that templates folder is the template for the cover page, which we've reviewed. That's an Excel file, and there's another video stored out there on Blackboard that teaches you how to use that Excel file. It works with a piece of shareware called SMF add-in. We'll get to that next week. Also out here on Blackboard is the research report Word file, and if you click on that, you'll download the template for the remainder of your research report, and it's going to give you some nice hyperlinks to a few sources that you'd be wise to check out that I always incorporate whenever I'm doing a research report. So I previewed this a little bit last week. It's divided into 4 or 5 major sections that we call Management Team, Moat, Mispricing, and Mark, and they will guide your research efforts throughout the semester. But as you scroll down, you can see here that it's already been set up to document your sources. So source 1, 2, 3, and 4, these are just placeholders. They say source, but you'll come in here and use that Microsoft utility to change that based on the resources that we'll be gathering tonight. And then there's a checklist at the very back of this template that's designed to keep everybody on track. So when you're looking at the management team, for example, in your report, note who is the CEO, what is his or her tenure, what is his or her background. You know, a little heads up, Google the CEO's name in quotes, and then Google the word interview. And you'd be amazed at what you find out there in periodicals that are not your normal run-of-the-mill Wall Street Journal and other investing rags. You'll get specific industry pieces. You might get a podcast. You might get a television interview, especially if you type these search terms into YouTube. It's just a little sleuth research tips that can be used to find great material, especially when it comes for projecting future financials. Knowing what the CEO thinks about the future direction of your firm is huge when you're trying to forecast financials. So there's a little tip there. Quite a few different outstanding items under management, moat, mispricing, risks. And then as we move throughout the semester, you'll notice that this template was designed with a major heading associated with each specific module. So these headings coincide with modules 1 through 15. And for each module, which is each class and each lesson, you can come out to this template and think about what you need to be adding to your report to make it as robust as we need. Okay, so as you scroll down, you're going to see another checklist here at the back of the document that includes sources checked. So keep this as a guideline. Company website, company investor presentations, so we'll go there tonight. Those are the first 2 sources I want you to check, company website and investor presentations, because that's the easiest way to get yourself up to speed. One of the biggest challenges with this project is understanding what your company does, what their strategy is, and where they operate in terms of market. So the most of the time, companies have great investor relations presentations that are designed to accomplish that. Next, I want you to go to the SEC filings. I want you to look at company earnings calls, which are usually archived on company websites, conversations with management. Again, if you Google the CEO's name and interview, you may get some interviews. Or this placeholder, this conversation with management, is a reminder that you always have the opportunity to pick up the phone and call the company directly and schedule a call with the investor relations department. And I invite you to use the name of my company, Two West Advisors. You're all deputized as analysts for Two West Advisors. If you want to pick up the phone and schedule a call with your management team, that's a great way to get insights into strategy, positioning, pricing, so on and so forth. Analyst reports we're going to look at tonight, Bloomberg, UMKC Library Database. We're going to go through these one by one. I'm going to show you how to access these and some of the tricks to searching within these databases that are incredibly powerful. So Bloomberg, for example, is a $30,000 a year annual subscription. Morningstar is a $20,000 a year annual subscription. Thomson Reuters can be as much as $50,000 a year. You all have access to that. Let's make sure we use it. Bloomberg, SumZero, Morningstar, Value Investors Club, Value Line, Standard & Poor's. Most of these beyond Value Line are direct hyperlinks, so you can go to each of these websites and type in your company's name and just see what comes up. And this is a big internet search project to begin with. You're gathering every little piece of information that you can possibly gather into a big data warehouse that we can use for the rest of the semester to crunch these reports together. Okay, so let's take a look at a company website. So these cards are good for calling people out too. So Ross, you're on top of the stack. You had GE. GE is going to have an absolute wealth of material out there for us. So we go in to go onto the internet. We type in General Electric Investor Relations. And we get their investor relations site. And all of your companies are going to have a site specifically devoted to investor relations. So we see here that we have a webcast. So remember, this is the management team organizing their story for you. So if they have anything to hide, it's not going to be on this page. Guaranteed. That's where the heavy lifting comes in as an analyst and what we'll be working on for the majority of the semester. But insofar as we can use this material to get ourselves up to speed again, this is a great place to start. So right here you have webcasts, you have press releases. This is where I would encourage everybody to look for right off the bat, which is presentation. These are usually presentations that have been prepared to fast track an analyst. This one was done on January 24th, 2018, so it's timely. And you can see here that, let's see what kind of materials we get. Oh, there's something on comp, simplified programs to 5,000 employees. So Ross, you'll want to check that out. You got an overview of the fourth quarter. Got some information on major business lines, revenues by line, consolidated revenues. This looks like more of a quarterly earnings forecast. Got an update on their insurance business. So Ross, if I were you, I would check this out, but then I would keep looking.
Can't have much good to say over the past year or so. Doesn't surprise me.
Well, which is one of the reasons why GE might make for a very interesting company right now to analyze.
I'm doing this because I want to buy some.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the General Electric Fourth Quarter 2017 Earnings Conference Call.
That's going to be an interesting call for you to listen to. You'll get a lot of great data. Okay. Interesting might be a stretch. I didn't even notice how wonky that was when it came out of my mouth. That says a lot about me, I'm sure. Okay, let's see here. Oh, there you go. So they're telling, yeah, done. They're telling their story. Wait around on this site. This is going to be a wealth of information for you, and I want everybody in the room to start here first. Okay, next we had investor relations presentations, SEC filings. Let's go take a look at the SEC so I can point out I just want everybody to know how to navigate it. www.sec.gov is going to bring you out here to search sec.gov. Well, that's John B. You had INCY. Let's try INCY. INCY. So we type in their ticker, we go to secfilings.gov, and here we go. This is every filing that INCY has been required to make over, this goes back years and years and years. And you can see that the last one here was a 13G, I don't even remember what 13G stands for, Statement of Acquisition of Beneficial Ownership. Sometimes those are interesting to read because you can see the major investors that own a chunk of this. And when I look at that, I look for names that I recognize. So if I see Oakmark and Ariel and other value investors that I hold in high esteem piling into a name, it starts to get me more interested about potentially making a purchase ourselves. That's information that you can get a lot of places on the web, but it also shows up on the SEC. An 8K is a current report. Here's the 10Q. You're definitely going to want to download the 10Q. And you're also going to want to download this 10K down here. The 10K is the annual filing, and that's going to be the most dense in terms of information. And that's also the filing that I want everybody to either have with you in forms of hard copy or have it on your computer as a soft copy so that we can reference it week by week as we go. So I'm going to be calling on some of you throughout the semester to have you rifle through that 10K and do a little bit of analysis work. So that's the SEC site. Next on the list is company earnings call. So we looked at one of those, Ross. Jeremy?
On the 10K, do you want us to try to use the one that they're publishing for last year, for 2017?
Most recent.
Okay.
2017 won't be out yet for most companies that have a fiscal year end 12/31, but for earlier fiscal year ends, it'll be out. So just grab the most recent. Company earnings call, that'll be on the investor relations website. John B?
Last class you said that we should check out the endnotes in the 10K.
Those, yep.
Should we do that like when we're in the 10K or is that different?
So start reading the 10K. You'll have to make it through over the course of the semester, and it's a challenge. It's a real challenge to read a 10K and understand what's going on, and I would encourage all of you to begin that challenge. The sooner the better. And last week I did mention that I've personally benefited from starting those 10Ks from the back, the end notes, and reading them back to front. And you'll uncover a lot of the hidden accounting tricks, gimmicks, shenanigans that management teams might use to hide or disguise or just otherwise bury what they don't want you to see. When you go to the investor relations website, you get the nice color, glossies, prepackaged information. The management team's pulling all that together, and they're very, very smart. They pay their marketing staff very well to create an experience that makes their company look good. It's the back of the 10K filing that's going to reveal any of the warts that they might be hiding. So, yeah, that's a tip. I would encourage you to begin from the end. Okay, so earnings calls. We stumbled on one just a moment ago that GE had posted to the very front of its site. They'll be buried on the investor relations website somewhere. Look for those. Listen to the last one or two, and if during the course of the semester we find an accounting anomaly that might have been from 2 or 3 quarters ago, the earnings call is always a great place to go back and learn more about that specific accounting anomaly. Okay, let's look at Thomson Reuters. So to get out to Thomson Reuters, you're going to go to the UMKC homepage, and then you're going to click on Libraries, which is right up here at the top. And that's going to take you to the Miller-Nichols Library. And then you're going to look for the databases hyperlink. And that's going to take you to an alphabetical list of all of the databases that are available to everybody at UMKC. And there's some absolutely great material out here. The one that we're looking for right now happens to be underneath T, and that is the Thomson One Investment Banking Database. So click on that, and then I always have to copy this website and go over to Internet Explorer, because you can't access this website with Google Chrome. So just remember that. You'll have to access it from Internet Explorer. So I plug that in. And then I can go and connect through. And you're going to get an authentication error that requires you to call technical support. That's a bummer. Let me see if I can navigate there from. Maybe I need to log in again with my credentials.
Someone told me if you want to connect, only 5 people per session can use this.
There's a limit, and there may be 5 people using it already.
Yeah, it's telling me all the IDs are currently being used.
Okay. Well, let me give it one more try, and fingers crossed we'll get in there. If not, I'll just kind of give you some information on how you might want to navigate that. Okay. Well, unfortunately, it's not going to let us in. But I didn't have to log in through Internet Explorer, so I'm not sure what the problem was. Okay, well, let me just give you a brief overview of what you'll see when you go in there. You're gonna see a front page that gets you into a company's financial data, and it's all been prepackaged in a way by Thomson Reuters that's very, very user-friendly. So you're going to see valuation ratios, and you're going to see recent news, and you're going to see industry peer groups, and you're going to see company research. The most valuable component of Thomson Reuters is Thomson One, is in those research reports. So when you go in there, there's going to be a section of that website that's devoted to research reports, and you're going to get analyst reports from Goldman Sachs and Barclays and JP Morgan and dozens of other websites that give you hundreds and hundreds of pages of research reports on your company. Almost everything that you need to do your semester project is going to be right here, prepackaged for you in a way that you can download and begin to assimilate. And that's, again, I'll draw you back to the importance of that bibliography, because once you have these sources, get them in your bibliography, and that allows you to, how do I say it? It's not, there's a quote that goes something like to borrow from one source is plagiarism, but to borrow from many sources is research. And that's what we're doing. We're borrowing from many sources, so that bibliography really sets us off on the right foot. Play around in there. You'll find a bunch of great data. I wish we could get in. My apologies. We'll try again next week. But for the time being, let's move on to the next source document, which is Bloomberg. And we don't have access to Bloomberg in this class. You have to go over to the Block Heritage Hall, and there's Bloomberg terminals in the tech lab, and they're dedicated terminals. So you have to go over there and log in, and then there's a manual in Blackboard. If you go to our Blackboard site, I have posted a resource. Just have to remember where I put it. Maybe it's in the research project. Yeah, it's in the research project folder, and it's this last link that says Bloomberg Guide. It gives you the quick and dirty guide on how to use Bloomberg and where to go to pull up. Every research report that's out there on Thomson One will also be available on Bloomberg, plus a whole bunch more. And Bloomberg is, because it's not available in class, I don't use it very often, but check out the guide, and sometime in the course of the semester, go over there to the tech lab and sit on that terminal and dig up as much as you can find on your company from Bloomberg, because it'll help you out. Yes, sir.
Does our school login work for that, or are we gonna have to make a new one?
Does anybody know the answer to that question?
Have to make it.
You have to make it. Okay. Do you know how to make it?
It's pretty simple.
It's easy, yeah.
Okay. Are the instructions over there?
No, it's easy.
So you'll,
It's just like creating a sign-in for anything else. You just log into the terminal and it asks.
It tells you what to do, yeah.
okay. Well, if you run into problems, come back. Somebody will help us troubleshoot it.
If you use Bloomberg anywhere else, it'll be that sign-in. You can't create a new sign-in with your same email, that sort of stuff.
So SumZero is, we talked about last week. That resource is available to us. Morningstar is another resource that everybody has access to, and the login and password are saved out there in our Blackboard shell. So if you come out here to Morningstar, you'll be able to use the UMKC login. I don't want my 2 West login. I want my UMKC Block School login. And that'll bring you out here to Morningstar. And let's see, let's type in, Yanlu, you had Williams Sonoma. Let's see what happens when we type in WSM to Morningstar. Here's Williams Sonoma. We get a company snapshot, including analysis, price to fair value, trailing returns, financials, valuation, operating performance, dividends, ownership, executive profile. So, I like to teach you all how to shortcut this class, how to how to cheat the instructor, and this is your these are your crib notes right here for Morningstar. There's a reason why I use Morningstar to query all of the companies that are available for you to choose from. I hold their research in high regard. They do good work. They have a great framework for analyzing companies. They stick to a discounted cash flow model, which is one of the primary valuation tools that we're going to be using in this course. They usually have a great peer group analysis. They have insightful commentary about how a company has traded historically. And they have a focused attention on a company's competitive advantage and their management team, both of which are key components of the way that we've structured our research too. So I want you to use this Morningstar research as one of your primary benchmarks or guideposts. Come out here and print this off first thing and familiarize yourself with this research report. And then over the course of the semester, your challenge at hand is really to come to an independent assessment for yourselves of whether or not you agree with this analysis. So you're going to take this analysis and you're going to go find a bunch of corroborating opinions, and you're going to go find a bunch of contradictory opinions. And I want you to just make your own independent assessment about what you believe to be true about your company. Because the Morningstar report might be a little bit negative, and you may, after finding a great interview with your company's CEO, come to the conclusion for yourself that you believe the future for your company is a lot brighter than is represented in this report. And then your challenge becomes drawing that out in your research report. Or conversely, you may be more down on your company's story than Morningstar is. And that analysis can typically be found under this analysis tab. And if we click on read full analysis, you're going to see here that this analyst has a bunch of great stuff stored right here. So all prepackaged up for you. If this was, basically they've written your executive summary right here. And don't be afraid to borrow from this, to cite from this. Okay, so that's Morningstar. Then we have the UMKC library databases. So let's go back to the UMKC library. Okay, so this is where we navigated for Thompson 1, but we also have available to us, what looks like maybe 50 or 60 other databases. And if you click on the B, oops, what did I do there? When you first click through, you see them organized by subject. So if you come down here and you click on business databases, you're going to click through to a list of maybe a dozen other databases, and all of these can be valuable for finding material on your company. A couple of them that I will use frequently are this IBIS World. This database is going to give you specific information on the industry that your company operates in. So when you're trying to find out what your company's valuation ratio is relative to its industry peers, well, this is where you're going to find the industry peers. Or if you want to find out how they've differentiated themselves in terms of strategy relative to the rest of the industry, this is where you come to find and understand the rest of the industry and how your competitors are positioned. Let's see. Mergent Online is a great database. If you come search Mergent Online, I will almost guarantee you're going to find a SWOT analysis. The SWOT analysis was a part of Module 1 and was required from that module for your research report. So come out here. Let's try one here. Jacob, you had Cheniere. Let's type in LNG, see what we get. Right there, number 1. That takes us through to okay, here we go. We have executives, we have key financials, we have company financials, equity pricing, reports, filings, news. See what we get here under reports. SEC filings, a list of competitors. They have industry reports. Okay, so I won't go through all that, but just take that on yourselves to come out here and check that out, play around a little bit. You're going to find all kinds of great stuff in those databases. So click on business specifically, click on finance specifically, and then check out any other subject grouping or individual database available to you out there on that site that might be specific to your industry. And you can also search for your company's name, and the research engine is powerful enough to draw on a lot of industry rags and other periodicals that might have profiled your business in the past. And that takes us down through the rest of these websites, which are basically all hyperlinked here, and you can click on them yourselves and go to those websites and type your company's name into the search engine and see what comes up. Some of you will strike it rich and get great material, and others will strike out and won't get anything, but rest assured that there's enough here in the sources that we've already viewed to power everything that you're going to need through the semester. So get started on this project early rather than late. Don't wait. And
so is the template something is that how you want it to be formatted, or is that something you want us to specifically use to write our paper? Like go
I think the answer is yes to both of those questions. I want you to download this template, and then I want you to begin writing your research report inside of this template.
Okay.
Okay, so I am going to hit the stop button.